With the release of the Pathogen DLC for Aliens Fireteam Elite, we have a new story to unfold and new alien creatures to fight against. Now let's dive into the lore of Pathogen. When you speak to Herrera, she gives you a brief rundown of what's going on. Pala Station is still overrun by Xenos. Esther's been keeping an eye on it from orbit and she's seeing weird stuff. Over the last few days, there's been big movements. Lots of bugs traveling overland to the south, some big canyon complex. Thanks to you, Katanga is no longer a problem. The refinery and the Xeno Hive went up in a real pretty nuclear fireball. We're trying to keep the Pala Station Xenos out of the LV-895 ruins. We still run into pissed off Weyland-Yutani synths, but without Cynthia leading them, they can't do jack. Honecker's over the moon. Esther and Savan set him up with some basic recon drones to look around. I don't think he sleeps anymore. Every time I see him, it's engineer this and proto-indo whatso that. When Xenos act weird, Colonel Ship wants to know why. Are they setting up another hive? Or is something in that canyon attracting them? So you and me, we're heading back dirtside to get her answers. Recon the area the Xenos are moving into. If there's an issue, deal with it. Same as always. Upon landing, you examine the surrounding area, and in the distance, you can see an incoming storm. Your team would encounter more xenomorphs as usual, but also come across more engineer ruins. Since we know little about their works, we proceed with caution. As you go inside, you see no sign of any Weyland-Yutani staff or equipment. It seems like these ruins are undiscovered. Inside the ruins, you would locate the corpse of a large xenomorph. Esther says the corpse was definitely a xenomorph, dismembered alive, slain in combat. Herrera notices there's no sign of the company here or Cynthia's goons. What could rip apart a xeno like this? Esther is not sure, but she says that xenomorphs do not willingly leave their dead behind. After running an analysis of the corpse, Esther says she found claw lacerations on it. We're not sure if it's a native critter or if the bugs are attacking each other, but the records they do have suggest that xenomorphs only attack competitor species. Your team would explore the ruins as they battle more xenomorphs. Along the way, you would pick up demo charges and blast a sealed door from within. Another xenomorph corpse is found later on, recently defeated, a fresh body. You perform a penetrating scan to see what else you can find. There's 4-digit clawing, like a xenomorph, but single nails, not their characteristic dual nails. After battling a wave of xenomorphs, Herrera says it looks like the Xenos came here to fight some competitor species, and it's not going well. It's big intel, so she's briefing Santos about this, and it gets passed up the chain of command. They also get Doc Honecker on the line. Perhaps he can tell them something useful about the ruins they found. It doesn't look like anybody's been inside for centuries. What's hiding out here? After this, we can look at the intel items we collected along the way. Log 1, Alpha Tech Hardware Inc. Notice our new supplier, huh? Alpha Tech's been around about a century. They got started outfitting National Armed Services in South Asia. Back in the 30s, they moved out to the Independent Core System colonies and made some breakthrough in magnetic monopoles. You run into an ICSC Merc outfit now, it's a good bet they carry Alpha Tech guns. The United Americas have been buying gear from them for about 3 decades now, especially after the Frontier War, when the Assembly got pissed at Weyland-Yutani. You know Alpha Tech made the Endeavor's railguns? When we slam a steel rod into somebody's planet, that's Alpha Tech. Log 2, Xenomorph Crusher. Curious. Our first opportunity to study the remains of a xenomorph crusher. Crushers are a quadruped strain. They move quickly in straight lines, but are incapable of the agile leaps of runners and prowlers. Their head plate is similar to that of Praetorian nest guards. A charging crusher uses it to bludgeon their prey. It is sturdy enough to deflect small arms fire. Fire teams lure crushers to obtain shots from the flanks or rear. Similar xenomorphs have been encountered previously, usually born from thick-skinned herd animals. The crusher appears unique to LV-895. I will pass the recordings to Colonel Ship. I know she'll be intrigued. Log 3, Engineer Monoliths. I heard you got some close-up footage of those engineer spear thingies. Can I see? Okay, no sign of electromagnetic activity inside them, no engineer writing on the surfaces, just solid carbonized metal. Huh. They stand out from the environment, but don't have any obvious purpose. They could be art, something left to impart a message or a feeling. I wonder how the engineers saw them. They look ominous to me. I'm getting ahead of myself. You know the old joke, right? Anything an archaeologist doesn't know the use of gets called a ritual object. Yeah, I'll need to think about these without human preconceptions. We've learned that the Xenos from Pala Station are attacking an engineer ruin. Something inside that place is hunting and killing them. Our orders are to find out if it's friend or foe. As you continue your mission, Esther has given Doc Honaker a remote probe to control. It will accompany your team to scan anything you find. We found untouched ruins, ones the company did not loot. Your team would come across a pillar with engineer text on it. Esther tries to translate the text. It says, "Infamous repose. Do not know. Unnamed obligation deserted." But Honaker is unsure of what it means. Deep into the tunnels, you would briefly catch a glimpse of some new creature. It looks white, fleshy, and with spikes on its back. And around the corner, another body of a xenomorph. It's a fresh corpse that was slain moments ago. Herrera says she's never seen anything kill bugs this fast. After your team advances forward, there are some figures seen on the walls. Esther says it looks like organic ash residue and believes these were immolated engineers. Honaker is wondering if they were burned alive. Why and by what? Actual bodies of the engineers are found around the corner from this location. Esther runs a superficial analysis and it suggests rapid, uncontrolled mutation. It might have been caused from the pathogen. Up ahead, you would find a mechanical seal. Engineer metal is quite durable. You would attach a heavy cutter to remove the seal. Honaker is unsure of what the purpose of the seal was. Were they trying to get inside there or out of here? But Esther says there's insufficient evidence to productively conjecture. After fighting off xenomorphs, the seal is broken and the door is open. Something is attracting the bugs to this area, so you enter to find out what it is. Later, you would see a battle between xenomorphs and the white mutated variation. Herrera thinks the Xenos came here to kill these creatures. Esther says it is rare to witness predation of xenomorphs. As you continue your recon, Herrera would send your footage to Santos. Another object is located later on. Honaker wonders if it's a seal. What tore it open? It's surrounded with white hive material. A new enemy type is encountered here, the pathogen blight. It spits out a corrosive liquid that remains on the floor with a large radius that lasts longer, similar to a spitter xenomorph. After fighting off the pathogen creatures, you enter their hive. It's definitely xenohive material, but it looks like fungal growth. This is something new. You're then ordered to go deeper within to find the source of the mutants. As you set up a signal repeater, the EM flux will draw more creatures to attack you. As you defend this area, many mutated creatures descend on your location, along with a new enemy called a pathogen brute. Its heavy arms are used for attacking its prey. After this battle is done, a doorway opens, allowing further access into their hive. Esther says that xenomorphs are primal predators. It is discomforting to imagine pathogen augmentation. After this, we can look at the intel collected during this stage. Log 4. Ruined statues. Oh, you scanned a statue. You noticed how strange those are, huh? In these new ruins, every time you see a giant engineer head, the face has been knocked off, busted, defaced. This is interesting though. By the exposure patterns, it looks like all the heads were damaged around 2,000 years ago. That's about when we think the engineers abandoned this moon. It could imply the engineers did this themselves. If it was a quake or some third party, the same would have happened to the heads at the main ruins, Cynthia's site too. That was easy to find, close to Pala Station, visible from air, if you knew where to look. This new ruin was practically buried, so why only these heads? Log 5, the abattoir. Oh, a scan. Great. I've been thinking about the corpses we found down there. By size and form, they're engineers, but mutated beyond recognition. Your data confirms the bodies are 2 millennia old, fossilized. At first I thought, maybe we're seeing a lab accident. Somebody spilled pathogen. But the corpses don't have any protective equipment, those elephant suits. And the ruin we found them in doesn't seem like a lab. It's all stone, none of the metal we saw at Site 2. Why were so many of them packed into one locked room? There's something about those ash shadows on the walls that really bothers me. Log 6, mutated xenomorphs. You pulled a scan of one of those corpses. Let me see. Damn, this confirms it. What we've got down there is a swarm of xenomorphs mutated by that pathogen stuff. Damn it. That ain't so good. Regular xenos are murder. Pathogen makes everything weirder, madder, and less likely to know they ought to drop dead when you shoot them. Doc Honecker said his team used pathogen on xenos, injecting it in facehuggers. Remember Monica back on Katanga? Yeah, she was the least deadly of those. There's a lot of mutants down there. Where'd the bugs get into that much pathogen? Or does it spread from one xenid to another like an infection? After your team made contact with a new strain of xenos mutated by the pathogen, Colonel Ship wants you to find and secure their source. We can't let the mutant brood escape those ruins. The whole moon could be contaminated. As you continue inside, your team would find these giant bladder-like things. If you get too close, they explode and harm you, so it's best to destroy them from a distance. There's also these spore sacs that emit something into the air. It's similar to the ones we saw in the movie Alien Covenant. Your signal to Herrera is getting affected as you go deeper inside. You'll have to set up another comm repeater to boost the signal. You then get attacked by more mutated aliens. When you reach the final area, there is a considerable amount of pathogen here. Open canisters can be seen within this large room. This is the source of the mutants. By setting up a motion tracker and getting a sonar profile that would give you a reading of how much of it is here, then you would have options of what to do. But the mutants will detect the pulse and close in on your location. You deploy a sonic emitter and fend off the mutants. The mother of the mutant brood would then show up for the final battle. You encounter the queen during a molting phase, which lets you knock off loose sections of chitin. As other mutants surround your area, your team would fight them off while dealing with the mutant queen. After enough damage to the queen's armor, she falls before you and it's over. The other mutants can be seen running away in the back. Upon returning to the Endeavour ship, you are briefed by Herrera. We thought we had the pathogen contained at Site 2. Who knows how many other ruins are crammed with that stuff? Why the hell did the engineers have so much? If those bastards are still floating around out there, me and them are going to have words. We ran into a new species today. You made those mutants extinct before they could become a capital P problem. I don't think we got a medal for that, but only because nobody's done it. Grab a shower and a meal. The next crisis could come anytime. Weyland-Yutani hasn't shown up to reclaim LV-895 yet, but they're due. A ready response team with a good FTL drive could be here in days, by Esther's math. Between you, me, and the bulkhead, couple weeks back, Colonel Ship sent a full report to HQ. Everything we found, what the company was trying to pull, and details on the engineers. We won't get a response for at least another week, but $5 says heads are exploding back home. Now let's look at the intel found during the last mission, Log 7, Toxic Spores. Que carajo? Is that smell you? Oh, bet it's from the spore pods in the mutant hive. I overheard Ship talking about them. She said the mutant xenos are growing fungus in that goop they spew all over. Probably a local species. Maybe mutation of something from Paula Station. Then she said 200 some kinds of ant raise fungus in their hives, and I kind of blanked when she started rattling off Latin names. All you need to know is some of the fungus down there burst into spores if you get too close. They'll glow when they're about to pop. Pay attention. Decontaminate before you shower. Who knows what that stuff would do in our plumbing. Log 8, Mutant Brute. I understand you scanned the remains of a brute on a recent mission. May I examine your data? They are a particularly resilient mutation. You doubtless noticed its arms. Rather than hands, they end in clumps of dense biomass, used to batter prey. You may have been too occupied to notice brutes lack a tail. Colonel Ship hypothesizes it was lost due to the creature's method of locomotion. Without fingers, it cannot move along walls and ceilings, so it no longer requires a counterbalance. This is mere speculation, of course. We know little at this point. These mutations can leap quite astonishing distances. The impact is sufficient to drive their prey to the ground and knock down those nearby. Log 9. Mutant Queen. There are many unanswered questions about the mutant queen. How did she come to be? Was she exposed to pathogen as an adult? By a mutant invading her sanctum at Paula Station? Or perhaps the mutant brood stole a rare queen burster egg and raised it themselves? It is clear she played no role in the proliferation of the mutants. We saw no eggs, and no sign she ever possessed an egg sac. Her role seems limited to leadership, directing her brood against the non-mutated xenomorphs. It is interesting, she developed a full-body armored carapace, beyond that of a Praetorian. We are fortunate to have encountered her in a molting phase, when sections of this protective chitin could be more easily shot off. And that covers the full story of the Pathogen DLC in Aliens Fireteam Elite. I really enjoyed the story in this one, as they mentioned engineers and continued into the ruins to find more pathogen and the mutated creatures. I like how they made some references to Prometheus and Alien Covenant. Did you like the story in this DLC? Tell me in the comment section. Thanks for watching, this is Carlos, and I'll see you in the next video.